Of the three Gili Islands, each a distinct personality born from the same volcanic lineage off Lombok's coast, Gili Air holds a telling secret in its very name. In the Indonesian language, air means water, a simple yet profound distinction, as this is the only one of the trio blessed with significant natural freshwater wells. This single geological advantage is the invisible thread weaving through its history and shaping its unique character. It was this life-giving water that allowed the first Sasak fishing communities to establish a permanent foothold here centuries ago, creating a more deeply rooted settlement than its neighbors. It nourished the dense, swaying coconut groves that still carpet its interior, a verdant heart that the other, more arid islands lack. Today, that legacy endures not in monuments, but in the island's subtle, unhurried rhythm, a place where the cadence of village life harmonizes with the whisper of the tide, all quietly sustained by the unseen resource flowing just beneath the sun-baked sand. The coastlines of Belitung are a study in geological sculpture, where immense granite monoliths, smooth as river stones, punctuate the placid turquoise sea. Unlike the volcanic drama shaping much of Indonesia, these formations tell a far older story. They are exposed fragments of the Southeast Asian tin belt, a vast granitic intrusion forged deep within the Earth's crust during the Triassic period, over 200 million years ago. For millennia, relentless wind and water have worked upon this ancient foundation, eroding the softer surrounding rock to reveal these stoic, rounded giants. They stand not as violent additions to the landscape, but as its very essence, a core truth laid bare. To stand among them is to feel the immense, silent pressure of deep time. Each boulder is more than a landmark. It is a testament to continental collisions and slow, patient artistry, a quiet anchor holding the island's memory against the shifting tides. The path begins as a single vermilion artery plunging into the forested slopes of the sacred Mount Inari. What appears as one continuous hypnotic tunnel is, in fact, a collection of over 10,000 individual Torii gates, each a testament to a prayer answered. On the back of every gate, black characters inscribed in wood detail the name of the donor and the date of their offering. These are not ancient relics, but a constantly regenerating forest of faith, with new gates added daily. They are offerings to Inari Okami, the Shinto spirit of rice, sake, and crucially, business prosperity. Established in the year 711, the shrine's trails now stretch over 4 kilometers, a living ledger of commerce and devotion. Walking through these corridors, the sunlight filters through the dense columns, casting shifting patterns of light and shadow on the worn stone path. It is a landscape sculpted not by geology or time alone, but by 13 centuries of human hope, a collective, silent prayer for a bountiful harvest or a profitable year, made tangible and breathtakingly vast. The magnetic allure of this coast is written not in sand, but in stone. Long before the first Grand Hotel was built, the Esterel Massif laid the region's foundation, a volcanic range of fiery red porphyry born over 250 million years ago. For millennia, these jagged, unforgiving cliffs were seen as an obstacle, a rugged barrier to be navigated rather than admired. It was only in the late 19th century that a profound shift in perception occurred when a new class of traveller, followed by artists like Matisse and Signac, began to see not a barrier, but a dramatic backdrop. They were drawn to the unique quality of light here, a brilliance created by the stark contrast between the warm, ancient rock and the deep, cool expanse of the Mediterranean. What we now call the French Riviera is, in essence, a recent idea, a layer of human appreciation painted over a canvas of immense geological time. Unlike the sun-bleached skeletons of temples that line the Nile, Dendera feels startlingly alive, a testament to its relatively late construction under the Ptolemaic pharaohs and Roman emperors. Here, The Great Sandstone Roof has survived for more than 2,000 years, preserving a complete vision of the Egyptian cosmos. High in a dark chapel, a plaster cast now marks the spot where the famous Dendera zodiac once lay, a celestial map of such astronomical precision that its discovery in the early 19th century fundamentally challenged European timelines of ancient knowledge. But the true spectacle unfolds in the main hypostyle hall. Following years of meticulous cleaning that removed centuries of soot, the ceilings now blaze with restored color. We see the sky goddess Nut, her body a brilliant arch of lapis lazuli, swallowing the evening sun to give birth to it again at dawn, surrounded by a complex tapestry of constellations and divine beings. It's a powerful, immersive declaration that for the last rulers of Egypt, even as their world was changing, the universe still moved to an ancient, immutable rhythm, charted and worshipped in stone. Standing sentinel in the heart of a vast man-made lake near Sheikhupura, the Hiran Minar defies easy categorization. It is not a fortress watchtower, nor a minaret calling to prayer. Its purpose is far more personal, a testament to the affection of a powerful emperor for a cherished companion. Here, in the early 17th century, the Mughal ruler Jahangir commissioned this entire complex as a memorial to his favorite pet antelope, Mansraj, who tragically died at this very spot during a royal hunt. The vast water tank, the elegant causeway, and the central octagonal pavilion were all engineered for imperial leisure, a tranquil escape from the formalities of court. Yet its soul remains the solitary tower, marking the grave of the deer, its brick facade once adorned with plaster and dotted with niches. More than just an architectural marvel, Hiran Minar offers a rare and poignant glimpse into the private world of a dynasty. A quiet reminder that behind the grand tapestries of conquest, the most enduring legacies are sometimes born not of power, but of a simple, profound affection that transcends the divide between a sovereign and his animal. The Hopar Valley is not a landscape in repose, it is a landscape in motion, a vast geological theatre. Its primary actor is the Great Bee. While countless images have made this five-storied pagoda an emblem of Japan, its true identity is often lost in the frame. Erected as recently as 1963, the structure is not an ancient temple, but a modern cenotaph, a peace memorial known as the Chureito. It was built to console the souls of nearly 1,000 citizens from the local city of Fujiyoshida who perished in the great wars of the past century. The ascent of almost 400 stone steps is therefore more than a climb for a photograph. It is a pilgrimage. Each step elevates you from the world below, bringing you closer to this solemn dedication, all under the silent, watchful gaze of Mount Fuji. Here, the ephemeral beauty of cherry blossoms and the stark architecture of remembrance converge, creating a powerful dialogue between human loss and natural eternity. It's a landscape that doesn't just ask to be seen, but to be understood, transforming a breathtaking view into a space for quiet contemplation on sacrifice and peace. While it bears the name of a 17th century navigator, the Tasman Sea is defined by a far more ancient story, one written not in a ship's log, but in the very crust of the earth. This expanse of water is, in truth, the flooded heart of a lost continent. We are sailing over Zealandia, a vast landmass, 94% of which lies submerged beneath these often unforgiving waves. The dramatic archipelago of New Zealand and the remote islands of New Caledonia are not isolated landforms, but the highest mountain ranges of this drowned world, breaking the surface for air. This hidden topography is the reason for the sea's profound character. Its immense depths, its powerful currents, and its famously unpredictable swells are the direct expression of submerged valleys and continental shelves. To cross the Tasman is to journey over a hidden landscape, a constant, humbling reminder that the world we perceive is merely a thin, luminous surface stretched over mysteries of an almost unimaginable scale. The Lower Omo Valley is more than a destination. It is a geological manuscript chronicling our deepest origins. For millions of years, the slow tectonic pull of the Great Rift Valley has created a basin where sediments have captured an unparalleled record of life. It was here, within formations laid down over 2 million years ago, that paleoanthropologists unearthed some of the most crucial hominid fossils ever found, revealing a critical chapter in our own evolutionary story. The Omo River, a patient sculptor, continues its work, slicing through these layers of time and exposing the bones of a world long past. This sun-scorched primordial landscape is not merely a backdrop for the diverse cultures that call it home. It is the very bedrock of their existence and ours. Here, the story of humanity is not confined to museums. It is etched into the earth itself, a continuous narrative stretching from our most distant ancestors to the vibrant, resilient communities who walk this ancient land today. The name itself, Serra da Estrela, the Mountain of the Star, hints at legend, but the true story of this landscape is written not in the sky, but in stone. This is a place shaped by an unexpected force, ice. We are standing in the southernmost bastion of Europe's last great ice age, where, some 20,000 years ago, glaciers ground their way through these highlands. The Zaza Valley, stretching for 13 kilometers, is the most profound evidence of their passage, the largest glacial valley in Europe. You can see the ghost of the ice in the valley's perfect U-shaped profile, a signature carved by a slow-moving river of unimaginable weight. The polished granite surfaces and the massive solitary boulders, known as erratics, were all left behind as the ice receded, silent monuments to a colder world. This ancient sculpting process did more than just move rock. It laid the very foundation for life here, dictating the flow of water, the soil's composition, and the unique alpine ecosystem that we see today, a resilient world born from an age of ice. From the shifting sands of the bay, Mont Saint-Michel appears less as a construction and more as a geological inevitability, a granite spire thrust from the sea. But its story begins not with stone, but with a vision. In the year 708, the bishop of a nearby town, a man named Aubert, was said to have been visited by the archangel Michael himself, who commanded that a sanctuary be built upon this isolated rock, then known simply as Mont Tombe, or the Tomb on the Mount. This was no arbitrary choice. The island's power lies in its dramatic dialogue with the ocean. The tides here are among the most extreme in Europe, surging in at the speed of a galloping horse, transforming the mount from a peninsula into a true island twice a day. This relentless rhythm of isolation and connection made it the perfect earthly stage for a divine fortress, a place of pilgrimage intentionally difficult to reach, where the physical journey mirrored the spiritual one. What we see today is the culmination of over 1,300 years of human endeavor, a vertical city of faith built in defiance of gravity and the sea, layer upon layer, each generation adding its own chapter to Aubert's celestial dream. To the untrained eye, the emerald terraces that cascade down Bali's hillsides are simply a masterpiece of landscape gardening. But this is no mere scenery. It is a living, breathing system over 1,000 years old, known as the Subak. Rooted in the philosophical concept of Trihita Karana, the harmony between gods, humanity, and nature, this intricate network of canals and weirs is a marvel of democratic water management. Every drop of water that nourishes these fields originates from a shared source, often a mountain spring sanctified by a water temple, and its distribution is governed not by law, but by a collective spiritual and ecological wisdom. The priests of these temples are not just religious figures. They are custodians of a delicate balance, coordinating planting and irrigation schedules for entire communities. It is a profound illustration of how, for the Balinese, the sacred and the pragmatic are not separate domains, but are woven together, shaping every contour of this remarkable island. Nestled at the foot of the dormant volcanoes, Salak and Gede, Bogor's famous moniker, the Rain City, is a direct consequence of its dramatic topography. The mountains compel moisture-rich air to rise and cool, creating a near-constant state of precipitation through a process known as orographic lift. It was precisely this relentless, life-giving humidity that the Dutch colonial administration, far from seeing it as a nuisance, recognized as a singular opportunity. In 1817, they founded the Kebun Raya Bogor, the city's sprawling botanical gardens, not merely as a place of leisure, but as a world-class scientific institution. Here, in this vast, open-air laboratory, thousands of tropical plant species were cultivated and studied, including crucial cash crops like the cinchona tree, the original source of quinine. That legacy endures, hanging in the very air, a palpable fusion of damp earth and blooming flora, where the grand 19th century architecture seems locked in a quiet, perpetual negotiation with the vibrant, encroaching green. It is a city forged by a unique collision of geological destiny and imperial ambition. To understand Vanuatu is to understand the immense pressures that created it. This archipelago of 83 islands was forged in the tectonic crucible of the Pacific's Ring of Fire, a foundation of volcanic rock and fertile soil that dictates the terms of life itself. Nowhere is the relationship between humanity and this volatile earth more visceral than on Pentecost Island. Here, the annual Naghol, or land diving, is not a spectacle, but a sacred covenant, a rite of passage inextricably linked to the yam harvest. From towers constructed entirely of jungle materials, Men leap from heights of up to 100 feet, their ankles tethered by liana vines precisely calculated to halt their fall, just as their shoulders graze the softened earth below. This ultimate act of faith is a direct dialogue with the land, a profound demonstration that for the Ni Vanuatu, the ground beneath their feet is not merely a place to inhabit, but a living entity to be challenged, respected, and appeased in a timeless cycle of risk and renewal. The name Banyuwangi translates from Javanese as fragrant water, a poetic title for the island's easternmost point. Yet, the region's defining character is forged in a far more elemental fire. Here, within the Aegean volcano complex, a rare natural phenomenon unfolds nightly as sulfuric gases, escaping through fissures at temperatures exceeding 600 degrees Celsius, ignite upon contact with the air. The resulting spectacle is not lava, but an ethereal blue flame that illuminates a landscape of profound contrasts. A vast, turquoise-hued acidic crater lake set against canary yellow sulfur deposits. For generations, this otherworldly terrain has also been a workplace where miners harvest the pure mineral by hand, a testament to human endurance against a backdrop of raw geological power. This is the essential paradox of Banyuwangi, a land where a name evoking delicate perfume coexists with the acrid breath of the earth, and where beauty and hardship are drawn from the very same volcanic source. The sound of Arashiyama often arrives before the sight, a deep, hollow percussion as thousands of thick stalks knock against one another in the wind. This is not an ancient wild forest, but a meticulously cultivated landscape, with origins tracing back to the estates of 14th century aristocrats. The dominant species here is Moso bamboo, a botanical marvel capable of shooting upwards nearly a meter in just 24 hours during its growing season. This phenomenal growth is what allows the grove to maintain its soaring, cathedral-like density, with individual culms reaching heights of over 20 meters. As sunlight filters down, it paints shifting patterns on the manicured path, reminding you that this journey is a deliberate one, a passage designed centuries ago to immerse visitors in a world where human intention and the relentless power of nature have grown into a single, breathtaking entity. Here, at the absolute southern tip of the Baja California Peninsula, stands the natural monument known as El Arco. Carved from Cretaceous period granite over millions of years, its form is a direct result of the relentless forces of wind and water erosion against the rock. This is Finisterre, or Land's End, a name that has guided seafarers for centuries, serving as a critical landmark for Spanish galleons and the English privateers who stalked them. The arch acts as a powerful gateway, a physical threshold where two distinct marine worlds meet. On one side lies Playa del Amor, lapped by the calm, turquoise waters of the Sea of Cortez, which Jacques Cousteau famously called the world's aquarium. On the other, the formidable Pacific crashes against Playa del Divorcio, a testament to its raw, untamed power. This natural drama provides the perfect stage for a raucous colony of sea lions, whose barks echo against the ancient stone. El Arco is not merely a Rising from the mists of the Cadu Plain, Borobudur presents a profound paradox. It is not a temple one enters, but a single, colossal stupa that one must ascend. Crafted in the 9th century from over 2 million interlocking blocks of volcanic andesite, with no mortar to bind them, its genius lies in both its immense scale and its narrative purpose. The entire structure is a pilgrimage in stone, a three-dimensional map of the Buddhist cosmos, designed to guide the faithful from the world of earthly desire at its base, through 5 square terraces depicting worldly forms, to the formless, circular platforms of enlightenment at its peak. Here, 72 perforated stupas partially veil serene Buddha statues, silent witnesses to a vision that was itself lost for centuries under layers of volcanic ash, a testament to a faith so monumental it could literally move a mountain and then be reclaimed by it. The western edge of Europe doesn't simply meet the sea, it shatters into the Atlantic. Here at Sagres, immense limestone cliffs stand defiant against a relentless oceanic swell, a landscape so stark and elemental that the ancient Romans named it Promontorium Sacrum, the sacred promontory. For them, this was the literal edge of the world, a place of divine power where the setting sun hissed as it plunged into the abyss. It is no coincidence, then, that nearly 15 centuries later, this same wind-scoured headland was chosen by Prince Henry the Navigator to master the arts of exploration. To launch an expedition from a place so steeped in the mythology of finality was a profound psychological act. From atop these 200-foot ramparts, his mariners had to unlearn centuries of fear, looking out not at an ending, but at an uncharted canvas. This singular point on the map thus became a crucible, transforming the world's perceived boundary into the gateway for a new age of discovery. The name itself, Gwada, whispers of the elements that define this coast, a union of the ancient words for wind and gateway. And it is a gateway, sculpted by nature into a near-perfect natural harbour. The city occupies a remarkable hammerhead-shaped headland, tethered to the vast Balochistan mainland by a slender, 12-kilometre-long sandy isthmus known to geologists as a tombolo. This rare formation is the very secret to its strategic power, creating a sheltered, deep-water port on one side, shielded from the Arabian Sea's open fury. It's a value long understood. For almost 200 years, this wasn't Pakistani territory at all, but a remote overseas holding of the Sultanate of Oman, only purchased in the year 1958. Standing here, you sense the immense weight of that timeline. A place where the persistent forces of wind and water have carved out a destiny that continues to draw the ambitions of the modern world. The story of Bandung is written first in fire and water, not in ink. The city rests in a highland basin, the floor of a great prehistoric lake that formed after the colossal eruption of Mount Sunda some 55,000 years ago. This ancient volcanic legacy bequeathed the region its remarkably fertile soil and a cool, temperate climate, a combination that proved irresistible to Dutch colonials in the early 20th century. They sought to build a new capital here, a mountain retreat from the tropical heat, and in doing so, They lined its avenues with some of the world's finest examples of tropical Art Deco architecture. But while these elegant structures are ghosts of a bygone ambition, the city they inhabit is anything but static. Today, Bandung pulses with a new energy, a hub of youthful creativity and intellectualism, proving that from a cradle of ancient geology and colonial history, a truly modern Indonesian identity can emerge. To arrive in Sintra is to cross an invisible threshold, leaving behind the sun-baked plains for a world governed by its own microclimate. The granite massif of the Serra de Sintra, rising abruptly near the Atlantic, acts as a natural barrier, snaring moisture-laden winds to create this perpetually lush, often mist-shrouded environment. Ancient Romans, sensing its mystique, named it the Mount of the Moon, a title that hints at its otherworldly character. Later, Moorish tacticians recognized its strategic height, while centuries of Portuguese royalty sought refuge in its cool, verdant embrace, escaping the summer heat of the capital. This unique climatic condition is the very reason for Sintra's existence as we know it, a landscape that not only permitted but actively encouraged the flowering of the romantic, whimsical architecture that dots its hills. Here, nature didn't just provide a backdrop for history, it actively dictated its course, nurturing a unique fusion of geological wonder and human fantasy that continues to defy easy explanation. The blinding white arc of Whitehaven Beach isn't merely sand, it's a geological anomaly. Composed of 98% pure silica, its origins remain a subject of scientific debate as the local rock contains no quartz. Prevailing theories suggest these fine grains are not native, but were carried here by powerful sea currents over thousands of years, a slow pilgrimage from eroding inland deposits. This extraordinary purity gives the sand unique properties. It doesn't retain heat, allowing for a cool walk under the tropical sun, and its fine, uniform structure creates a soft squeak underfoot. So what we witness here is a remarkable confluence of deep time. These 74 islands are not volcanic atolls, but the peaks of a coastal mountain range, drowned by rising seas at the end of the last ice age. Upon these ancient submerged summits, a foreign element, this itinerant silica, has settled, creating a landscape that is as much a product of global climatic shifts and patient oceanography as it is a vision of paradise. They call it Dune 7, and it rises over 380 meters from the desert floor, a titan among giants in the Namib Sand Sea. But its scale is only the beginning of its story. Its very substance is a traveler. Fine grains of Kalahari sand carried west by the Orange River, swept north by the Atlantic's Benguela Current, and finally gathered here by the wind. This is a complex star dune, a geological masterpiece sculpted not by one prevailing wind, but by winds from multiple directions, forcing its slopes to rise to a central, shifting peak. The iconic apricot hue, which deepens to burnt sienna at dawn and dusk, is the result of iron oxide coating each grain, a slow motion rusting over thousands of years. It is a monument built by millennia of patient, elemental forces, yet it is never truly still. To stand here is to witness geology in motion, a silent, colossal testament to the relentless power of wind and time. Tonga, the last remaining kingdom in Polynesia, is more than a scattering of idyllic islands across the South Pacific. It is the visible frontier of a profound geological drama. Its archipelago of 176 isles, of which only 36 are inhabited, are strung along the Tonga-Kermadec Arc, a direct and volatile consequence of immense tectonic forces. Far beneath these tranquil turquoise waters, the colossal Pacific Plate grinds and subducts under the Australian Plate, carving out the Tonga Trench, a chasm reaching depths of nearly 11,000 meters, the second deepest on our planet. This constant, violent process is the very engine of creation here, fueling the volcanism that both builds and threatens the archipelago, occasionally birthing new landmasses from the seafloor. To truly understand Tonga, one must grasp this fundamental duality, that every lush volcanic coastline and coral-fringed atoll exists because of a deep elemental turbulence, a delicate human existence balanced on the knife edge of the planet's perpetual renewal.